Hello, welcome to Blockchain in the Metaverse. I'm your host, Futurist Amelia Kallman. Today, I am thrilled to be joined by Seyi Awotunde, Chief Visionary Officer of Deliciae, a luxury NFT marketplace. Welcome, Seyi.
Thanks for having me, Amelia. It's a pleasure to be here.
Such a pleasure to speak to you. So if you don't mind, could you tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Seyi Awotunde. I run a luxury NFT marketplace called Deliciae, and essentially centered around connecting the NFT community with luxury, digital, physical, and experiential-based NFTs.
So what was the inspiration behind starting Deliciae, and what is a luxury NFT marketplace?
In regards to what inspired me to start Deliciae, I'll say it's very much the NFT community. So last year, March, I put together like an NFT exhibition called Harmony and Balance. I got 30 artists together, got to contribute 3 pieces of art each. But I put in quite an immersive virtual reality experience where people could go in, take selfies of their avatars, have conversation with their friends. And then from the back of that got picked up by the likes of like New York Times, CoinDesk, as well as a number of other really popular publications. And what kind of was quite interesting was by that point afterwards, I had amassed a network of over 400 NFT artists, and people were contacting me daily saying that they needed advice with their NFTs, how could they sell them, and generally get my thoughts on their work. So from that, I said, there's a massive opportunity here to introduce something quite unique and special. And I say that from a standpoint of looking at the luxury side of NFTs. I saw a massive gap. So I said, why not fill that hole with a really interesting NFT marketplace that goes beyond just selling digital NFTs, that looks at like attaching the physical with like real world assets, as well as experiential based, looking in at stuff like private jet styled holidays and things of that nature, but putting that all in like an all-encompassing platform.
One of the things that first attracted me to talk to you was this idea that NFTs have utility and they have real world value, and they can deliver things that we wouldn't be able to deliver without smart contracts behind it. Wondering if you can talk to us a bit about that utility behind some of the NFTs that are represented on Deliciae.
I love that you touch on that topic. For me, utility is very, very important. There's a number of projects that have utility on them on our platform. One of them in particular is quite an interesting one, is the Michael Jackson song. The song's called Whatever Happens, and the songwriter is called Gil Kang. Gil Kang owns a 37.5% publishing stake in that song. He's agreed to sell 10% of the future earnings forever from that song that's being sold as an NFT. And that auction will take place on my marketplace Deliciae.
And so for the person selling it, they get like a one-time fee, and then the person earning it gets like a longer term fee.
That's correct.
Payment.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
Do you see this as like, the future of how people are going to be working in the creative arts? Is this a new kind of financial model that's come?
I'll very much say so, yes. If we look at like from a creative standpoint, unfortunately for a long time, it's never, in my opinion, benefited the actual creator, whereby with the power of smart contracts, we have the ability to not just reward creators at the initial point of sale. The wonderful thing is the royalties, which do apply ultimately in many cases forever. So I think that's very, very powerful, especially when you look at it from a standpoint of, I know some people will say, in the art world, as for instance, that there are traditional royalties that do apply, but typically those are of the value of 3%. Whereas with NFT marketplaces, and with that as well, that 3% is collected by like an association for you, and you'll get your royalties once or maybe twice a year. Whereas with NFTs and with the smart contracts, in some cases you can go up to 30%, but it's pretty much market standard that people are doing between 5 to 15%. And it's instantly, as soon as that piece is resold, the curator of it will get their royalties. For me, that's very, very powerful.
Have you heard about any other good examples of crypto kind of manifesting something in the real world?
I have, yeah. So there's been a number of quite actually really interesting projects. One of them being actually a flat in Kiev that was sold as an NFT, which I thought was really, really cool. That took place last year. With it, the auction started at $20,000, but it ended up actually selling for $96,000, which was pretty cool. And it was all powered by blockchain technology.
And you mentioned, we were speaking earlier about a new place in Old Street, perhaps?
Yes, yeah. So a really great guy and team called Canister, run by a guy called Barry, UK-based company, Black owned, really doing incredible work. He released a series of NFTs that were memberships, and the memberships would be valid in a club which he's in the process of purchasing on Old Street, which is really cool. It's less than a 5-minute walk from the station. Really exciting space and really interesting projects. There's going to become like a crypto hub. They have their own coin, so it's dedicated towards that and it being used inside the actual facility.
Wow. So essentially they've created their own ecosystem.
Yeah, really, it's honestly a mind-blowing project. Yeah, really excited about it. I would encourage everyone to check it out. It's called Canister, so CANI and then store, so STORE.
Oh, we were going to go and hang out there for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't wait for it to open.
So how are people using NFTs in the metaverse?
Yeah, so in the metaverse, there's been quite a number of like quite interesting projects. I think not limited to, or like especially around virtual fashion. We've seen a number of like top brands enter the space, whether it be Nike who very recently acquired a virtual trainer company. We've seen Adidas do various bits within the metaverse. Even very recently, Spotify partnered up with Roblox, and there's a Spotify land. So there's a number of like really interesting projects that we're seeing in the metaverse. With our platform, we actually tie it into the metaverse as well, so that we've got like a virtual setting where we've got like stuff like virtual mansions and places of that nature.
So MetaJuice, which is founded by Together Labs, and they provide blockchain services for metaverse companies. And one of their social networks is InView. And I can see this as a great place where people will want to buy NFTs from Deliciae that are luxury items and then bring them into this social space to show them off. How does that process work?
Yeah, sure. So from when you purchase the NFT on Deliciae, depends on which one it is. What typically tends to happen is it goes into your wallet address. So it goes into your wallet, your MetaMask wallet. And then from there, you're able to, in many cases, do with it essentially as you please. With some of them, they are like virtual reality enabled. So then you're able to take it into other settings and really play around with them.
That's one thing that I kind of see as a current barrier at the moment is this idea about onboarding people. So people who don't yet have a wallet, who are kind of watching at a distance and thinking that looks really cool, but I don't know where to start. What's your advice to them?
Deliciae, we actually hold people's hands through that whole process in terms of them purchasing NFTs, but taking it all the way back to the very beginning in terms of how they purchase cryptocurrencies. From the cryptocurrencies, how they would transfer that to MetaMask, the importance of securing their MetaMask and knowing where their seed address, not sharing that with anybody. So really giving people an educational piece, and we don't charge for that. We'd actually do that for free because for us, it's very important, aside from them buying the NFT, that they actually understand what they're purchasing, why they're purchasing it, and how to maneuver within the space.
What's exciting you the most about this new marketplace?
I think for me, it's just really, I feel like we're filling a massive gap, a massive void, especially when I look around luxury. Whilst there has been some people who have on the cusp of launching their marketplaces, or some that already exist, I feel like we're really filling a void, whereas it's not just the luxury offering, there's a lot around education, and then there's also a lot around how it's being presented as well. There's some really unique and special environments. I've partnered up with some really amazing architects from all over the world. There's some in India, some based in Africa, some based here in Europe. we are really working on some very, very exciting projects.
And that actually brings up an interesting point. So this kind of the decentralization of the workforce, the kind of democratization that is possible here. I think one argument could be that this new financial area could increase inequality rather than decrease it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. Interesting question. For me, I look at it from a standpoint of this, especially when we look at the creators. I do most definitely hear that point, but I actually look at as rather the glass being half full as opposed to half empty, if that makes any sense. So I look at it more from a standpoint of I look at the number of people who have entered the space who prior, whether it being them lacking in something like confidence or just that sense of direction, NFTs and the power of blockchain technology and a real sense of community has really empowered a vast number of people from various different walks of lives, which for me is really phenomenal. And one of the things that really excites me a lot, I'd say, about the space.
So what is next for Deliciae?
It's a very busy period at the moment with Deliciae. So very much so now, it's just about essentially building the platform out, continuing to secure more partnerships. We're doing a number of really, really exciting projects and boarding artists into the space, more centered around education. We've got a number of talks, both here and abroad. So preparing for some of those really exciting things. We're anticipating that we'll be in NFT New York next month as well. So yeah, some really, really exciting things on the agenda.
And we have NFT London coming up too, right?
Yes. So Deliciae is one of the major sponsors behind. So London Tech Week is the week of the 13th of June. It's also now become Metaverse and NFT Week. And yeah, we're one of the leading sponsors for it. But as well as that, what we're also doing is I'm essentially the head of programming for it as well. So yeah, really exciting project. And for us, it's all about educating people. And just really providing, because so many people, like we mentioned beforehand, still don't quite understand the space. So that sense of education is very, very important. There'll be a number of free events running across the week. On the Tuesday, we have an event at Houses of Parliament, and there's a number of other really exciting pieces that are in works.
Fabulous. I hope to cover that for blockchain in the metaverse. Thank you so much for your time today. I've learned a lot from you, and I can't wait to see what Deliciae does next.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you all for watching. And please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Blockchain in the Metaverse, where I get to interview Janine Yorio, the CEO of Every Realm, a metaverse and NFT innovation and investment platform that is really shaking things up at the moment. Can't wait for that one. See you then.